1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, it is that time of the year, the end of the year, and you guys know what happens when we get to the end of the year within game design and video game community in general. Well, we get the award shows, which mean absolutely nothing, but people love to look at them and see what people's opinions are on them, and you actually get to learn some things from these award shows, like undercut games and what were really kind of cool, and what came out and what people thought were really cool. But yeah, it's that time of the year, and at the end of each season of It's Not a Sport, I do my own little award show where I say what were my games of the years and recommendations that you guys should be playing, at least on my radar. So before we get into that talk, quick reminder, as always, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. You can find all of our archive shows, those past Game Wars shows, all are on our YouTube channel, and you can also listen to our most recent shows on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Podcast, as well as also check out our website, because that has all of our articles, and you can look into my personal favorite game of the year, which is Run and Gun, the game that I am developing for my senior capstone project at DePaul. So, with that out of the way, let's get into our first kind of award show, which was the Golden Joysticks Awards and the winners that came out. Best storytelling went to Life is Strange True Colors. Best multiplayer game went to It Takes Two. Best audio went to Resident Evil Village. Best visual design went to Ratchet and Clank Rifts Apart. Best game expansion went to Ghost of Tsushima Ica Islands expansion. Best mobile game went to League of Legends Wild Rift. Best gaming hardware, which is PS5. Best indie game was Death's Door. Studio of the year was Capcom. Best performer was Maggie Robinson, who played Lady Demetrius. Breakthrough Award was House of Makara. Best Game Community was FF14. Still Playing Award, FF14. PC Gaming of the Year is Hitman 3. Nintendo Game of the Year was Metroid Dread. Xbox Game of the Year was Psychonauts 2. PlayStation Game of the Year was Resident Evil Village. Most Wanted Game is The Elden Ring. Critics' Choice Award was Deathloop. Ultimate Game of the Year was Resident Evil Village. Ultimate Hardware of all time is PC, and Ultimate Hardware of all time is Game of all time is Dark Souls. So first off, before I give my opinion on this year sucked. This year was a terrible, fucking terrible game for game design and games in general. And the reason because of that is COVID. A lot of studios are still in COVID mode. They had to stop production because of COVID, and a lot of things got halted because of COVID. So it was really no big surprise that this year and probably next year we will not see a whole lot of big major games because of COVID. The only reason I think we'll see games like God of War, Ragnarok, and The Elden Ring is because they were in production before COVID. But all the games that came after that are games that people had plans to release this year or last year. We will not see until 2020 at the earliest. COVID really stopped the game community. It really halted things back, and we are still in that COVID mindset. Most studios are, and they're not hiring. Trust me, I know. I've been trying to get a lot of internships and things like that. COVID has just been cock blocking me. So that is one thing. That is why this list is very scarce, and why this list makes not a lot of sense, because a lot of games, if you look at this year's release, just didn't come out. A lot of games just were not there. Those games, just to look at the games that came out this year in January, the big ones were probably Hitman, NFL, right, came out. Yakuza, a lot of remasters came out this year. In February, we had the Neo 2 remaster. We have Ori Collection. We had Bravery Default 2 came out for the Switch. In March, we had Yakuza Like a Dragon that came out for the PS5. We had a lot of Crash Bandicoot. It's about time. Crash Bandicoot 4, that didn't really get anything. Um, Kingdom Hearts all came out for like the PC. Those games were ported over. In April, we had, what did we have in April? Really nothing in April. Neo Replicant, which is a remake, came out. Genshin Impact for the PS5, I guess. Uh, in May, that's when we did have Resident Evil 8 Village. So that came out. We also had the Mass Effect Legendary Collection that also came out, and also with some Assassin's Creed DLC. In June, we had World of Warcraft Burning Crusade that released. That was a lot of fun for me personally. Elder Scrolls expansions. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order came out for the PS5. It was already released, but it came out. Doom Eternal already got re-released. For July, we had the Zelda remake, which was a failure. That came out. Death's Door, that won one of the games, but that came out. Microsoft Flight Simulator Neo, The World Ends With You, which was probably a really good game, but fell under the radar. The Nier mobile game came out. Final Fantasy Pixel Series, that's a remaster that came out in August. Psychonauts 2, Godfall for the PS4, Glitch Punk, Marvel's Avengers, a DLC for the Wakanda, again, Psychonauts 2 in September. That's when we had Deathloop. That was probably one of the biggest releases this year. Bravely Default 2 came out for the PC. Tales of Arise came out. That was probably another big release for this year. Some other small new releases. New World came out. That was another probably big release for this year. In October, we had Back for Blood that came out. FIFA came out. Far Cry 6 came out. Those are probably the two biggest releases. Metroid Dread came out. Some of the big releases for this year. Age of Empire 4 came out, another big release. Super Mario Superstars came out. In November, we didn't really have anything. Call of Duty Vanguard came out. The remastered of GTA that came out, I believe. Pokemon remakes for Diamond and Pearl, those came out. In December, we got the surprise Halo Infinite, or we're getting Halo Infinite. The full game comes out in December. We're not in December yet. We also got the surprise Halo Infinite that came out. We also get really Halo Infinite and Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker is really what's wrapping up this year, and the rest of this stuff is yet to be announced or even looked at. So that's just a quick reminder on why this year was so bad, why this year was so weak, and in general. Now, looking at the Golden Joysticks Award in my list from this kind of what they say, this is why, again, we get games Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy for the best community and still playing reward. This is kind of funny in my head. I feel like this is more because of WoW's downfall this year and Blizzard's downfall as a whole. A lot of people, especially here, I feel like in the West, don't really care about Japanese games. They don't care about Final Fantasy, and they really feel like it's weeby. And because of WoW's such failure this year and Asmongold and a lot of the hype that we also covered in this season, which kind of engulfed most of the gaming news, that is why Final Fantasy 14 kind of won these awards. Now, is it do these rewards? Does it deserve these awards? Fuck yes, it does. But that's the only reason I feel like it's in these spots is because of WoW's downfall, which makes it kind of somewhat bad. Other things, again, a lot of games weren't really released. Resident Evil 8 was one of the biggest and most anticipated, along with like maybe Halo, Death and Deathloop, and those were like the games that won mostly for me for like Critics' Choice Award is Deathloop. Most anticipated game, while Elden Ring is very anticipated, I think we're all forgetting about the big one, which for me is Breath of the Wilds 2. I think that one should be a lot, at least for me, is a lot more anticipated than the Elden Ring because that game and what Nintendo did with Breath of the Wilds originally is steps above. And from the gameplay of the Elden Ring, it doesn't seem to be that crazy. It just kind of looks like a Dark Souls 4. The other games, these Ultimate Game Awards that they have, especially one being Dark Souls, they're very debatable. I don't think you can count these. With these award shows, they're all people's opinion, and in grand scheme, cares about them is what one would makes one feel good about their self-esteem. Moving forward, let's get in other game awards, which is not yet announced, but we can look at the nomination. So, Game of the Year for the Game Awards is Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank, and Resident Evil Village. I chose Deathloop here because I thought that it was a very cool idea. It was good storytelling, good dialogue, and they did a very good job with that game. I haven't looked at all the in-betweens, and then the other one would be Resident Evil for me, which Resident Evil is also very good. For Best Game Direction, I think I chose Returnals here. I don't remember exactly what I voted for, but the nominations are Deathloop, It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet and Clank. For Best Narrative, it was Deathloop, It Takes Two, Life is Strange, True Colors, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which I thought actually did a surprisingly good job watching a playthrough of it, Psychonauts 2. For Best Art Direction, you have The Artful Escape, Deathloop, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet and Clank. Music Score, you have The Artful Escape, Cyberpunk 2077, Deathloop, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Neo Replicant. Now, here's the thing. Neo Replicant, I think, wins out of the bat. If you ever listen to Neo Replicant soundtrack, it is amazing. But Neo Replicant can't count here because it is a remake. The soundtrack was already made back in the Xbox 360 era. So it's very hard to say, hey, that is the best soundtrack, where it's a remastered soundtrack. So then where does it fall for or default to then if I had to choose? Well, I've listened to Deathloop, and Deathloop does have some amazing tracks, and then Cyberpunk. So it's probably one of the two, I would say, for me. Best audio design, we have Deathloop, Horizon 5, or Forza Horizon 5, Ratchet and Clank, Resident Evil Village, and Returnals. Best performance, we have I'm just gonna go by who they played. Played Alex Chain in Life is Strange True Colors. He played the main antagonist in Far Cry 6. Colt in Deathloop. Lady Demetrius in Resident Evil, and Juliana in Deathloop. I think that honestly, the Deathloop actors, and it may be very tuned to their writing, they did a fantastic job with dialogue in that game and their bantering. I would either choose those two if I had to pick one. Games with the impact, Before Your Eyes, Boyfriend Dungeon, also A Colorful Tale, Life is Strange, True Colors, and No Longer Home. Those are the nominees for that category. Best Ongoing, we have Apex Legends, Final Fantasy 14 Online, Fortnite, Genshin Impact, and Call of Duty Warzone. Best Indie, 12 Minutes, Death Store, Inscription, which I've seen my friend play. It looks okay. Kiana's Bridge of Spirits, and Death in Loop Hero, excuse me. For Best Mobile Game, we have Fantasia, Genshin Impact, League of Legends Wild Rift, Marvel's Future Revelation, and Pokemon Unite. Best Community Support, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14 Online, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. Innovation and Accessibility, Far Cry 6, Forza Horizon 5, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Ratchet and Clank, and The Veil Shadows of the Crown. Best VR/AR game, Hitman 3, I Expected You to Die, Lone Echo 2, Resident Evil 4, and Sniper Elite VR. Best Action Game, Back 4 Blood, Calvary 2, Deathloop, Far Cry 6, and Returnals. Best Action Adventure Game, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart Worlds, and Resident Evil Village. Best Role-Playing Game, Cyberpunk 2027, Monster Hunter's Rise, Scarlet Nexus, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Tales of Arise. Now, I think that no matter how buggy Cyberpunk was, it was a fun role-playing experience. Now, I'm kind of biased. I think Shin Megumi Tensei 5 probably wins here. I haven't played it, but it's Persona's older sister, and Persona is one of my favorite RPG franchises. I know Monster Hunter Rise did very, very well. And then Tales of Arise, I played some of the older games, and those games are kind of giving me PTSD, so I can't really put Tales on it. Uh, Best fighting game. Now this goes without saying. Of and this is a hint. Guilty Gear Strive is the best fighting game of this year, I think. Probably between Guilty Gear Strive and Melty Blood if we're gonna go professional fighting games. But if you want to go meme fighting games, then maybe Nickelodeon All Star. But I think Guilty Gear is the best fighting game in my opinion. But the other categories is Demon Slayer, fighting game, Guilty Gear Strive, Melty Gear, Type Luminous, Nickelodeon All Star, and Virtual Fighters Ultimate Showdown. Best family game is It Takes Two, Mario Party All Stars, New Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World Browser's Fury, and Wario War Get It Together. Best Sim/strategy games: Age of Empire 4, Evil Geniuses 2, World Domination, Humankind, Inscription, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. Best Sports Racing Game: F1 2021, FIFA 2022, Forza Horizon 5, Hot Wheels Unleashed, and Riders Republic. Best Multiplayer Game: Back 4 Blood, Knockout City, which was actually super fun, so that because that's the only one I played, it goes there. It Takes Two, Monster Hunter Rise, New World, and Valheim. Best Content Creator of the Year: Dream, Fusial, Gallius, NBA, and Griff D. Best Debut Indie: The Artful Escape, The Forgotten City, Kiana Bridge of Spirits, Sable, and Valheim. Most Anticipated Game: Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Starfield. Best esports game: Call of Duty, CSGO, Dota 2, League of Legends, and Valorant. I think Valorant wins here. Best esports athlete: Simp, Showmaker, Collapse, Simple, and Tens. Best esports team: Atlanta FaZe for COD, Damwon Kia for LoL, Natus for Counter-Strike, Sentinels for Valorant, and Team Spirit for Dota 2. Team Spirit, I think, actually ended up winning the Dota 2 International. Best esports coach: Silent, Engel, BA3, I don't even know how the fuck you say that, Crownder, and Konama. Best esports event: 2021 World's League of Legends World Championship, the International 2021, PGL Major Stockholm 2021, PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2020, Valorant Champion Wars Stage 2 Masters. And then that concludes the nominations for the Game Awards. So what is my Game of the Year? Well, drum roll please. My Game of the Year for 2021 goes to Guilty Gear Strive. Because it's the only game I played this year, and I actually enjoy it and like the soundtrack. It's actually one of the fun fighting games that I think is good for new people who've never played fighting games before, who want to get into actual traditional 2D fighting games. Guilty Gear Strive is a fantastic game. It's a lot of fun. It's not rage-inducing. It's very reactive. It actually has a real netcode, so you can play online and play against people. It's not hard to do so. A lot of the inputs are very responsive. The music and a lot of the themes for a lot of characters are really, really cool. The balance is questionable, but it's still fair. It's super fun. You can have a comeback, and it is my game of the year for 2021. Now, if I play anything else that comes out this year, like the Halo campaign, and that overtops it, I will let you know probably in the future or in a tweet. But currently, as it stands, Guilty Gear Strive is Game of the Year, and not a sports game. Congratulations. What games do I recommend? Well, if you look on the YouTube video, you can actually see the list of on the VOD of the games that I have up on here, so you can pause the video and check it out. But some of the games that I've completed this year go to, of course, I would say I've gone back and played Enter the Gungeon, the Talos Principle, Subnautica was a super fun one. World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade Classic was super fun for me. Darkest Tuesday, Doom 2016 was super fun for me. A Plague Tale Innocence was okay as well. So a lot of games I have played this year. I played StarCraft earlier in the year for the first time. Bloodborne I beat this year earlier for the first time. That was super fun. I tried RuneScape. I tried some indie games. Absolute Drifter, Ape Out was a super cool take on video games. So definitely go and check some of those games out. But as terms of what games are the best, Guilty Gear Strive is the best. With further ado, that's going to conclude this week's episode. Yes, no news, no esports, no anything like that. Just strictly about games. As always, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Also, if you want to listen to all of our past shows, they are up on our on our YouTube channel. But you can check out the most recent shows on our Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Google's podcast, and SoundCloud as well. Check out our website where you can play my personal game that I'm making, Run and Gun, and download the closed beta and play that. I'd love your feedback on that. That would be super, super duper helpful. With that all of the way, this has been your host, Salty Waffles, signing off, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday and a fantastic end of the year climb.